Hey, guys, we are live. Carter Harkins is with me. My name is Taylor Hill, and we have a special guest today named Pepper. You might be hearing in the background every once in a while. So, yep, I hear her right now. There she is, bless her heart.
Yeah, 5 months old and doesn't understand why she's locked in a room with me.
With you. Well, I can understand that. Now, I don't know if a lot of people would know why they would be locked in a room with you.
Yeah,
I mean, it's anybody. I certainly see that. So that's a good deal. Well, let's let people get on, and we'll be back in just a minute with Pepper. It's one of the beautiful things about lives. I've had people doing construction in the background, dogs, delivery people, and it really is a lot more, I think, with us than it is with people listening. So it's all good.
Just life happens. But
yep.
She's chewing on a bone now, so hopefully we'll keep her occupied for 30 minutes.
Awesome. Well, we got a lot of dog lovers. They certainly understand. So let's jump right in. I love this topic. I know that a lot of people probably are like, but I like this topic.
That's such a huge opportunity.
Yeah, the rise of microsites. I mean, we don't talk about this kind of stuff very often because it's not something that is going to get a lot of play in most areas. But I will tell you, the quality that you get off these microsites is usually really, really good. So it's good stuff that comes your way with these type of sites. And so let's talk a little bit. I've had this question a couple of times. What in the world's a microsite? What is it, Carter?
So a microsite is really any site that is not like a primary place that you do business, but it's a place where you can be seen, right? So a place where people are talking about what's going on in the world, talking about various different events, world events, neighborhood events, things that are just topically interesting to them. But it's also a place where service businesses get a lot of traction because if you're in a neighborhood and somebody in the neighborhood needs a plumber, you can guarantee 100 other people need a plumber too. And so these are like Google Groups and Nextdoor and I don't know. What are some of the other ones that I can't
there are people that, almost every church online has a group. There's Sunday school groups, that they have, and nursery groups, and people that are in groups around their daycare situation. People are in all kinds. It's just all kinds of ways that people are gathering. There's the ones I was trying to think of. They're writer groups. They meetups is another place that people talk. They get online and they talk in that. There's forums. People don't realize if you've got an interest. Let's say motorcycles. We've got a lot of chimney guys, especially, that really are into motorcycles and traveling and touring, and they take some amazing trips, and they post about it and all that. Well, there are groups out there about riding and being inside of different motorcycle clubs and those kind of things, and they're in forums online. And so whether it's a forum, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's, I know Twitter is looking at some things. There's some stuff in Clubhouse that people get together and do. So there's all these things. The thing I love about micro sites, though, specifically, is these are sites that we want to concentrate on that are in your local area. All right. Which is a little bit different than a motorcycle Facebook group that's like everywhere. But if you ride with a group of motorcycle enthusiasts within your area, most of those have some kind of a communication hub. So think of a microsite as a communication hub in your neighborhoods, or a communication hub around a topic. It could be an activity you have, boys and girls clubs. next door is a perfect one because those are small little micro communities in neighborhoods. But there are some neighborhoods that have other kind of communities as well. I know in the neighborhood that I'm in, we just have a big email list. It's just a huge email list that when somebody has an issue, you get an email, because there's probably 20 people in this little neighborhood. So it's really not big enough for what we would call a microsite, but that is a big enough thing that, I had my next door neighbor emailed me a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, I think they delivered some stuff at the back of our driveway that's yours. I was like, I went over there and it's a bunch of vinyl. I'm like, no, vinyl's not us. That's not us. So she got on the neighborhood site and just said, hey, we got this shipment here. There's no billing label. There's no address. There's nothing on it. Somebody just backed up and dumped a bunch of vinyl at the back of our driveway. And it's a really big, long driveway. Well, they got home the next day. It was gone. Nobody said anything. They still don't know, where it went or who it was from. But she's like, don't know, but we're just thinking that maybe somebody in the group said, oh, and it was theirs or whatever. Or the shipping people realized they put it in the wrong spot. Don't know, but it's gone. So, stuff like that happens. But it's just a place where you notify people about things, And here's why they're so impactful. It's impactful because you have a small group of people that are normally very opinionated. And in that area, if you do a great job and become one of their guys, you're the go-to guy, guess what happens? You become all of their go-to guys. Because if one of them likes you, as soon as somebody wants a plumber, this is my guy. As soon as somebody wants your gutters cleaned, this is my guy. As soon as somebody wants a chimney swept, this is my guy. And that's just the way that works. So there's so much there that we don't take advantage of because we don't think of it in that they're huge. You know what I'm saying? But they can be huge because of the type of business you get for a whole lot less effort. And then you want to think outside the neighborhoods into the groups that you're in, the BNIs, the Gold Stars, the networking groups, the Chamber of Commerce. What are some of the other ones? My dad was with the Lions Club, there's all these places out there that people gather. Then you don't think about it, but it could be in Little League groups. A lot of Little Leagues have hubs and people ask some crazy things, hey man, I'm struggling to find a whatever. Does anybody have any suggestions who I can call? Sure. Call this guy. I need trees down or whatever it's for.
There's merchants groups online. Mm-hmm. There's contractor groups online that share resources and talk about, who's hiring, who has people, who's, they just, all of these things are microsites that add a lot of credibility and a lot of potential new business for you.
Sure. And if you've joined us today, we'd love for you to give us a thumbs up and a like on Facebook. If you have any comments about additional microsites that you think we've not covered, we'd love to get your input. That would be great. If you would like to add that in, that would be fantastic. And so here's the other thing I get, though, Carter, because it's great when you say, yep, what is a microsite? I get it. I know what it is now. Now, how do I use them? Because normally, if you're outside the group, you can't get in the group. That's really one of the challenges with people, that really want to get into those real nitty-gritty neighborhoods. How do you do that? Got any suggestions?
Well, monitoring that is a bit of a challenge, right? Especially a lot of these groups look down on self-promotion. So They don't want people coming in there and spamming the group saying, "Hey, special $25 off, your next chimney sweep or whatever." So you can get blacklisted really quickly. You can get tossed out of groups. There's a lot of rules in most of these groups to protect against advertising and spamming. But you can become a member of the group most of the time, unless, sometimes Nextdoor, your address has to be within the Nextdoor area for that particular group and that sort of thing. But there are ways, and we know of some ways. There's a couple of sites that we think are pretty cool that monitor. One monitors Facebook groups, and the other monitors Nextdoor groups, and it's just a bot, and all it does is crawl these groups and find out what they're talking about. And anytime there's a mention of a particular keyword, like chimney sweep or plumber or roof contractor, whatever the keywords are that you want to monitor, it'll alert you and let you know that this group is talking about that. You can go in and look. Again, you have to be careful not to just jump on those opportunities and blast your contact information all over the pages, but it can still be a pretty powerful way of just kind of learning what's going on, and even seeing who those people are in the group, and then privately DMing them with your information just to say, "Hey, I'm not trying to score points here in the group or blast my information, but I do this kind of work. If you're interested, check out my Google reviews and be happy to talk to you," or something like that. So, there's great ways of doing it.
So one of my favorite ways to actually become active in one of these groups is kind of doing it by subterfuge a little bit. And hey, Chuck Roydhouse is here, Christina Robinson, Steve Sobsack. Thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate you giving us a thumbs up, and appreciate you guys being here. So let's talk a little bit about, if I'm not in the group, and if I don't know that I'm in the group, and you don't know who's in the group, but you're in a really nice neighborhood that you think you can get some really good business here, and you get a job in that neighborhood. That's the first thing. You want to work on getting work in those neighborhoods. Well, instead of asking for a direct review on Google or Facebook or whatever, when you leave that job, one of the things you can do is just say, "Hey, are you a part of the neighborhood group here?" And if they say yes, so do you mind just letting them know what a great job we did? You got to do a good job, by the way. But if you would just let your neighbors know, we love doing business in this neighborhood. We'd love to come back and serve the rest of the neighbors here, if that's possible. If you could do that, I would really appreciate that. I tell you, that goes a long ways. That goes a really, really long ways. And speaking of long ways, Ryan Skews from South Africa is with us today. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Thanks for the thumbs up. Kathy Ray, glad that you're here as well, out in West Texas. It's hot out there right now. It's crazy. So those are some of the things that you can do as a business owner. And one of the things we don't think about is we have to remember we have employees that are also out there living in neighborhoods that are also part of these groups. So giving some of your employees some incentives to participate in the neighborhood groups, not overtly selling or whatever, but just monitoring those groups, letting them know. And if somebody, says, "Hey, is there a chimney sweep out here? Is there a plumber out here? Who can I need somebody, help." They can say, "Hey, I work with XYZ company, and that's what we do. I'm sure I can reach out to my boss and see if we can, get you scheduled, if it's okay for us to call you." And just because they're asking for help. I mean, those are some of those things, but I mean, anything like that you can do to help your neighbors, that's a great thing. So getting your people involved with that, and you being involved in your own group is also really, really important. I think that's another thing you have to. And I just saw Renee showed up. Hey, Renee, fantastic. Glad you're here. It's okay to be late. It's all right. Things happen. We know how that is. It's 10:15. See that? 10:15 in South Africa. We keep saying we're going to go there and visit old Ryan one of these days.
One of these days, and then the pandemic, and just on and on.
You bet. You bet. But that's really something I think we need to think more of. And I'm one of those people that, in all honesty, I don't watch what's in front of me half the time. I mean, my wife is always, saying, the cat, because I just don't pay attention to the cat in front of me. And it's kind of like microsites. We don't really pay attention to them. We take them for granted. They're there. We're talking to our neighbors. That's great. We're this and that. We don't think in terms of these are great little marketing pockets that we can have. Now, the other thing about Nextdoor, I will tell you, is that there are ways that you can do ads, but for right now, they're not taking local ads. It's really crazy. I don't know why, but they're doing more on a national scale. They'll take national campaigns, but we're watching that to see if they're ever going to let local service providers actually take advantage of the ads. But I actually think they're more valuable if you're not doing ads, but if you're listening and just reacting to the calls of your neighbors. What do you think about that?
Yeah, just being legitimate, being transparent, being a contributing member of the community in these groups, I think it's about giving more than it is getting. When that's your attitude, and you tell your employees that if they participate in these groups as well, not to think that they're doing this great thing for their company by, just spamming the group with all of the company information, but just really offering, look for when people are asking for recommendations about other kinds of businesses or a restaurant, or, does anybody know this kind of thing? Or I'm looking for somebody who sells firewood, or I'm, even if it's not something you do, but you have somebody that you recommend for that, or you have a resource that you might be able to share. I think just participating in those groups gets you seen. And the more seen you are, the more opportunities you have to be a trusted voice in that group, so that when you do have a legitimate reason, or somebody says, hey, I need a chimney person, or I need a plumber, then people are going to recommend you, and everybody's going to go, oh, I know that guy. He's in our group all the time. I see his comments and his posts all the time. So you've already built some trust. It does take a little bit of effort to participate in those groups, but the kinds of leads that you're getting here, right? If we're going to talk about cold leads versus warm leads versus hot leads, these kind of leads can be pretty hot leads. They can be just one good recommendation from somebody that they trust in a group like that can mean a pretty quick phone call to you and a new job, a new customer. So, cold leads, those are the ones that come from your website. Those are the ones that people are or even Facebook advertising, where they're not even looking for your service particularly, but they see one of your ads and they're like, yeah, I've been thinking about that. I guess I'll give them a call. It's not necessarily a really hot lead, but these groups can really bring you leads that turn into really good customers really quickly.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I was in BNI for years, and it's the giver's gain. That's the motto of BNI is giver's gain. Anytime you're a part of a group like that, the more you give, the more you get. Zig Ziglar said it in many different ways and many different speeches. If you help people get what they want, then you'll naturally get what you want. So I think that really is the message here. So look for opportunities, look just in your everyday life, look for those opportunities, those groups, those areas that you think that you can participate in, be a part of, where you can jump in and just really be a part of your communities there locally. I think you'll get a lot out of that.
Let's talk real quick about using these tools. And this is unscripted here. We didn't make any notes about this or anything, but I know that it's something that people listening and watching this care about, which is, I need to find good people to work in my business. I need to hire good people. What are your thoughts just off the bat about like how to use these groups, or how effective it might be to put the word out that you're hiring? That's a solicitation that's not necessarily a spam thing, right? It's not, You're not blasting an advertising message or a marketing message. You're saying, I need help. I want to serve the people in my community, and in order to do that well, I need more good qualified people. If you know anybody, please send them my way. Here's our, how would you do that? What are your thoughts about using it in a hiring scenario?
I think there's a couple of ways that I've actually seen it done. I'm on one with my rental property in East Nashville, and I lived there forever. So my wife and I are part of that. So I'm on that one as well. And there's been quite a few people who have just gone out and said, hey, we're struggling to get people. We're struggling to find really good people. If you know of anybody or you that need a job, you can work part-time, you can work full-time. We have good benefits, good pay. Please give us a call at XYZ if you're able. I think you have to go into the bylaws and see if certain things are allowed. I know before Nextdoor was in that group, we were part of a Google group that had very strict bylaws, and you couldn't solicit anything. Help or work or whatever. But I think it's worth a try. I mean, I think there's a lot of places right now. Another place I think that I would go, and I haven't figured out how to do this and do this locally yet. The TikToks and the Snapchats of the world have me a little confused, to be honest. It's not so much straightforward, but there are some things in there that I think it's worth looking at for people. I don't think it's worth right now putting a lot of time and effort into it in relation to getting business, because a lot of the people that are on there are usually between the ages of about 23 and 35. But those are also the age group that if you've got a really good job, good pay, good everything, the issue is you got to grab them. So you've got to create something that really grabs them. So, want to make $1 million a year, that might be a grabber. But you got to show them how to make $1 million a year. So that's my point. But what can you do to, grab people? You're going to do a sign-on bonus. You're going to do a 4-day work week or a 3-day work week. I mean, believe it or not, service businesses are figuring out how to do 3 and 4-day work weeks for people. That's an interesting play, guys. You might want to think about that. If you have enough people where you can rotate people in and out, so where some work 3, some work 4, and you've got, and able to schedule some of those, very advantageous, especially to family people. People who've got kids at home that want to do some of that. That's always something that you might want to think about. I think we as employers have to get creative and start thinking outside of the box. And how are we going to attract these people? So if you can figure out how to do a 3 or 4-day work week, then all of a sudden you've got something that most service businesses in your area are not offering. And if you've got people that have, a new baby at home or going to have a baby or whatever, and they can make the same amount of money working a 3 or 4-day work week as opposed to a 5-day, then now you got something to talk about, So that's what you really have to think about, no matter what platform you're looking at using. You've got to figure out what your messaging is. And so if you've got somebody out there looking for work and you can provide something that is very enticing to them, that they've never thought about, that they could do that job and be able to have, time, freedom, and different things. Those are all things worth thinking about. So, and I think microsites are a good place because they're in your neighborhood. They're right there where you are. So I think it's a good play. Yeah. I like it. I'm glad we're both on here because now, I don't have to think of everything you do.
Well, no, it just struck me that, that is the number one need that our customers have, is to find good people. And insofar as marketing to find those good people is concerned, microsites seem like, it could be a rich source of, again, referrals tend to be better than just cold, leads or cold prospects. So,
yeah. I mean, the last couple of people we've hired one that was not, and I've hired one that was a referral. So, you just want to be looking all the time. You want to be, have your antennas up for really good people. But you've also got to pay people what, we used to say, I got to pay people what I think they're worth. Now you got to pay people what they think they're worth. And then you got to determine is what they think they're worth and what you think they're worth, agreeable.
compatible.
Yeah, compatible. Sometimes people think they're worth a whole lot more than I do. And it's not that they're not worthy. It's just, they don't have the experience or the things that I think they need to have in order to be worth what I'm willing to pay for that job. But they may be great in the end, and I pay them more than they started out with. So, a lot of it is just, I think, common sense, but making sure that, the type of person that you want, and the messages, and you can give them something that they may not be able to find everywhere. So I think that those are the things that I would look to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So guys, if you have any topics that you want to send our way that we've not covered, and you think, this would be a good topic, I'd like to hear what their take is, or not. But, you could send it to me at taylor@sparkmarketer.com. I know Carter is working on a lot of automation and some things that we're going to be coming out with probably in the next month or so. If you are interested in hearing a little bit more about that before it comes out, that's great. Again, if anybody needs to, or of anybody, I've gotten a lot of referrals from you guys that people are sending me requests to do website audits. Happy to do that. It's always something I enjoy doing. And if not, then this is for Renee. This is the ticker tape, Renee, just for you. Next week, we're going to talk about the power of a referral. And some of these referrals are not the referrals that y'all think they are. So tune in, and we're going to talk about all the different places that you can look and find referrals that maybe you haven't thought about before. So until then, guys, thanks again for tuning in. We love you guys so much. Appreciate those of you that are able to come in every week. And if you can't come in every week, we just appreciate when you make time for us. We hope this has been a great help to you. We're going to continue to do it and hopefully just educate as many people as we absolutely can about marketing and the power of marketing and what you can do as a business owner. So thanks so much. We will see you guys next week. Thanks again for commenting and giving us the thumbs up and the likes. And we'll see you next time for the power of a referral. Thanks
Thanks everyone.